So what are my final thoughts on the BOSS Katana amplifier? I really like it. This actually blew me away way more than, say, the Roland Blues Cube, which I like. I think the Roland Blues Cube is a great amp. It's very similar to a PV Bandit, although it sounds different. They're very comparable amplifiers. This BOSS Katana is kind of like the next evolution of a Fender Mustang in some ways. It's much better than the GTs, so don't get that confused. I would take a BOSS Katana over a Mustang GT like that. There would be no two ways about it. I kind of feel like it has some advantages over the version 2 Mustang amps in some ways, but not in every way. Some of the things that I like about it is it has a lot of headroom. And if you don't know that term, what I'm trying to explain is, say you're on a clean channel, you put an overdrive pedal on, and then you crank up the volume on that pedal patch. On some modeling amps, and this isn't all of them, but on some of them, you don't get a whole lot of extra volume. It kind of maxes out really quickly. These get loud quick. It's like they just left a whole lot of clean headroom available for the effects, and that makes it feel really good to play. It feels great under the fingers. It feels and sounds great to your ear, and it feels really organic to play. I know that's kind of a weird sort of cork sniffer term kind of thing, organic, but it really feels like you're playing an amp with external effects. That's how cool it is. The only downside I experienced with this amp personally, which has been corrected, is the Boss Tone Studio. I couldn't get it to run on my Mac for whatever reason, and there was no software available for the PC at the time of doing that demo. Now that I've had a chance to use the BOSS Katana software, I really like it. I like that it's very simple to use. You can just click which pedal you want from a drop-down menu and you're good to go. If you haven't seen my video on that, I'll post it up in the cards. You can check that out as well. The only thing I'm not a huge fan of is the order of things that you put on the actual external effects pedal. It would have been great to just not have reverb as an on-off option. You know, if you want reverb, you're generally going to leave it on. I would prefer to be able to have, say, 2 overdrive pedals, a modulation pedal, and a delay, or even just 1 overdrive. But having all of that set up in the actual order that makes kind of sense. It feels like it's a bit of a mismatch of how they've designed it. You know, you've got reverb on your far right, you've got your boost on your far left. So that's already kind of like the wrong way around. I would have done it so you'd be thinking about it if you had them all in an actual pedal board, which order of, you know, the effects would go in. That's the kind of order that I would love to see Boss do on a future upgrade of that switch. Have it in the conventional pedal order. All in all, the amp sounds great. If you have a BOSS Katana, I know why you're raving about it. It's on my gas list right now. I am thinking about it, which is crazy. I don't need one, but I definitely want one. Would it replace any of my other amps? I don't know. I just think it's a really usable amp. If you're going to a jam, you can get your sound sorted out extremely easy, and it just feels and responds the way you'd hope as well, which is great. Like with most modeling amps, the one thing I did find was a couple of the distortions were a little fizzy sounding. It might have just been an EQ thing, but I found like that top end weirdness was there. Other than that though, the rest of the amp and what I used it with, I really enjoyed. It was a lot of fun to do that demo, especially after using the Mustang GT. A huge thanks again goes out to my friend Rob for allowing me to borrow his amp. Man, the Katana is really cool. Sadly, I have to give it back in like 3 days, but I've, as of today, shot the rest of the videos that I needed to shoot, so there'll be 1 or 2 more coming up on the channel. All in all, I'm sticking to my rating of 8.5. I think that's a really high rating for a non-valve amp or tube amp. In terms of sound, functionality, all that kind of stuff, an 8.5 out of 10 is extremely good, so it really hit the nail on the head. In terms of the GT, I'd probably give that around a 4.5. That's just my opinion.